Welcome to Pressing Matters. I am your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Now, Pressing Matters is a vinyl show where I ask vinyl collectors and music lovers five vinyl related questions and we see where the conversation goes. Now, in today's episode, I got journalist, I got former college athlete, I got music lover, D on this episode. Now, I had to get her on here before she blows up and y'all see her on the sidelines talking to some of your favorite athletes. Now, she came here to speak her mind and speak her truth about vinyl and music. And the conversation was wonderful. Y'all enjoy this episode, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace. What initially got you into collecting vinyl? I like your setup too. That
Mhm.
is me, right? I got that
Well,
division.
no, I love the vinyl wall. This is my second one. I had one in my brick apartment, but I had to keep the tradition going. I'll say I started collecting vinyls. It was actually in the pandemic, and I was actually revisiting my favorite rap albums by my favorite rappers, and Jay-Z is my GOAT. So when I was listening through his discography, I was like, it'd be really good to have like the physical copies of these. And I instead of going to CDs, I went to vinyls. My mom was a DJ in college, so it was a good way to kind of pick up that tradition because she wanted to pass down her records to me, but someone stole them before that could happen. So I was like, oh, I can start a collection of my own to like pass down to my kids. So it started with Volume 2 by Jay-Z, and then I just started picking up and
Volume 2 was
collect.
your first vinyl?
hmm
Damn. Okay. That's a great first vinyl.
Yeah, I wanted to collect my favorite rappers at first, and then it opened up to kind of just my favorite albums in general.
So you just normally get albums that you grew up on, or you just get albums that you love? Is it just albums you grew up on, or how's that?
It started with albums I grew up on, so like Volume 2 was definitely my like first real introduction to Jay-Z, and then when I started listening to music myself, I would say like Blueprint 3. So then I was like, okay,
Blueprint
I
3.
Oh, I love Blueprint, all the Blueprints, but Blueprint 3, like I remember coming up in that era. That was like the blog era, Dat Piff, Tumblr, and Jay-Z was so against autotune, but he still gave like moments to Drake and J. Cole. It was like the perfect segue into like this generation. So I love that album. So I was just started collecting there, picked up Dr. Dre, a couple Biggie records, and then I really just started falling in love with the fact that I had the physical versus having to always go to my phone and listen to music. So then that's when I just opened it up to my favorite albums in general.
Oh, okay. That's good because you just brought me to my second question. So how important do you think it is to own physical media? I obviously have a lot, but I want to hear from you, like how important it is, because I preach about it all the time. I think people are tired of me saying it. So
No, your collection is dope. Like you have
thank you.
everything. Um, I definitely think it's super important, especially with the era of streaming and just rights with music nowadays. Your favorite song could be on streaming platforms one day and gone the next, even if you bought it. And so I've experienced that a lot lately with just some of my favorite songs, like not being available to listen to, but I have the vinyl record so I could spin it if I want. So it's never ever truly lost as long as you have the physical. And I think we take for granted just the over accessible amount we have to music nowadays. And I don't think that'll be the case as we go through time. So I'd say stock up now for sure.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I got into vinyl because I was trying to this was back in like iTunes, like original. I was trying to get an album and they didn't have the songs that I wanted. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I know the vinyl do. And I was like, we're gonna just get that. And then I just kept that it's an expensive ass hobby, but I just kept
So
doing it.
expensive.
Like,
So expensive. Like even this is Act Two Cowboy Carter, but I have Renaissance so before she changed the Khalees sample. Like the Khalees like sample
oh,
is
you
the vinyl. And that's always going to be, and that sample doesn't exist out in the world anymore because she updated that song. So I think moments like that too, where it's like you'll get a different version of a song. What is it? On Chilumbo by Janae, you get a whole different version of the record with
Hmm.
herself and Kaylani. And that's like such a special thing to be able to also access on your records too. So I find that cool.
That is something that like if you don't collect vinyl, you don't recognize that like certain songs are available. Like there's I'm waiting on a Big Sean because I like Big Sean. I'm a Big Sean defender over here.
No,
Uh,
same.
I have a vinyl that I'm waiting and there's a song that's not on the album, I guess. I didn't know, but one of my friends was telling me, yeah, there's a song on there that's not on the album. I'm like, what? And that comes with like vinyl. Like
Hmm.
I'm excited. Like I like the physical because I like to read the stuff. Like
Hmm.
I read the who's the sample? Where'd the sample from? Who produced this?
Well, everyone gets their
Wrote it.
credit, and then you get to see just even the how they package the vinyl with the different set of photo shoots and the
Hmm.
posters that are available. It really gives a full round experience. It reminds me of like growing up with the CD booklets and just like going through and seeing the soundtrack and everything. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate the time, at least that some artists put into it. Like someone just released their most recent project on vinyl, but it's on like a picture vinyl. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I don't want to buy that.
Yeah.
So
I hate when like you buy it and it's like nothing in it. I'm like,
it's
you
just
put
like
no
plastic
effort.
sleeve,
Like I'm like, you
the
put no
vinyl.
effort into this. Like I personally like looking at this stuff. I don't really care for like the different color variants. I want the inside, uh,
Mhm.
the booklet. That's why like when I originally bought Cowboy Carter before the booklet, I was like,
Mhm.
where's the booklet? Like, where is it at?
Right.
I was pissed. I was like, man, because I paid to get it faster. Because I was
Mhm.
like, yeah,
Well,
I
she
was
on the
just,
Cowboy Carter release, she kind of bamboozled us a bit because she waited to drop like the deluxe version with the booklet after she dropped the limited edition cover. I'm like, why didn't you just drop these at the same time?
yeah.
Because
'Cause
then I would have picked. Like, I don't need two of them. I just need one.
yeah, I was a little upset. I was like, damn, because I paid like 50 some dollars. I
Mm,
was like, I'm paying all this and we missing tracks and stuff. Like
right.
I'm eventually gonna buy like Cowboy Carter, like the official one with everything in the booklet. But right now I'm a little bitter, so she gonna have to wait to get my money. She got enough, she can wait.
She definitely has enough.
So since you already gave me your first vinyl that you purchased, do you know what your second that you got?
Hmm. Honestly, I I think I went on like a Jay-Z run, and I think I got volume one after I got volume two.
Oh, I don't think I have volume one.
I got the order I got it was volume two, volume one, volume three, Blueprint. Do I have another one? Yeah, I think Blueprint is what completed it, like
Mm.
the one that I have. So I got Blueprint last. And I searched far and wide for that. I
Do
think
you,
I got it off someone in the UK.
oh, okay. I was about to ask you, do you buy like online?
Sometimes, like I really vet my sellers though, because I prefer not to get a bootleg. But I also only buy like off sellers if I can't locate it myself.
Okay.
Like I will scour lots of record stores and lots of other like verified online sellers before I go like to an eBay or something.
Yeah, I hate buying online. I got like I have a group of friends and they're just like, just buy it online. Like, no.
It's something about going into a vinyl store and not necessarily knowing what you're gonna pick up, but like walking away with like something special. Like I always vinyl shop when I'm in different cities because I do travel a lot for work just to visit my
Mhm.
friends. And I will say the best vinyl pickup that I ever got, DC, random vinyl store, and I didn't really find anything, and they just had this crate. It was just labeled like special. So I'm like, okay, then it must be like limited edition stuff. And I'm going through it. And I'm like, this is kind of just like rock records, like nothing really that I would want. But I was like, just go through the whole crate, like don't stop. So I'm going, and then I land on an original copy of Purple Rain with a mint poster on the inside, and they weren't selling it for more than $100, and it was good
Oh,
condition.
wow.
Nothing was wrong with it. I said, y'all don't know what you have here, so I'm gonna take this. And
I'm
I ran
surprised
out of
you.
that store. And that's my top find. I'll never forget that.
I'm surprised you got that for only $100 because they be
Oh,
taxing
less,
out
no,
here.
less. Like they didn't know that they were sitting on like gas.
I would
They're like,
say this, um, certain areas that I've noticed, they don't know the value of black art, black music. So especially like, I mean, I'm in the Bay Area, so
mm,
they like certain parts of the Bay Area, they have no idea. So that's why when I buy records, people think like, "Oh, you're spending so much money." I'm like, "Nah,
all the time.
they don't price these things the right way." So I'm like, something that would go for 40 online, I just got for 25. I'm like, you know, I price it like in my head like how much I'm willing to spend. They
Yeah.
don't be knowing. So any R&B out here, if it's not from somebody who's from here, I
Hmm.
could probably get a great deal on. Unless it's like Beyonce or the big heavyweight SZA. But what vinyl makes you think of your childhood?
There are a couple. I would say, I don't know yeah, you can see in the corner. The Diary of Alicia Keys is definitely one of them. Me and my mom used to listen to the unplugged out like her unplugged performance of this in
Mm.
the album before. And it's that unplugged performance and Mariah Carey's 1995 unplugged performance are probably why I fell in love with live music. Jay-Z's MTV Unplugged too. But Mariah and Alicia, like anything Mariah equals MC squared, like Music Box. I have a lot of Mariah Carey vinyls. My mom was an MC girl and Alicia Keys girl for sure.
What is that vinyl that's next to 808 and Heartbreaks? Is that Jaguar?
Uh, Over here,
Yeah.
yeah, that's Jaguar.
I need that one. I need
That is actually I haven't opened it yet because it's the limited edition Forest Green, like the very last version that she dropped of that one. I wasn't originally going to get it, and then she did the live performance of like Jaguar and a couple other songs, and I was like, wow, I slept on this album because there were only a couple songs that I liked on it just off the studio play. But when she performed it live, I was like, yeah, I have to get it, and that
yeah,
was the video.
that album is fire. That album go for crazy online.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I'll find it. I will eventually get it. But
But every time before that, they would sell out like hotcakes. Like the her fan base is very into the vinyl scene, and even I couldn't even get Jaguar 2 myself. Like someone had to get it for me as a gift because it was just fine.
really, I see that shit everywhere. Like when it came out, see, that's what I'm telling you. I saw it everywhere. I pre-ordered it online because I'm like, if I can go directly to them, that's the only way I really buy online. If I go directly to the artist, their website. But then like I went to the record store like the day after and they had it. I'm like, how y'all got
Um,
it already? Like it's not even
I missed the pre-order, and then I don't know why, but whenever I went back to her site, it would be like sold out, or just waiting, and I'm like, dang, I really like this album too, and I'm not gonna get it. And then someone got it for me for Christmas. I'm like,
yeah, that was one of my favorite albums when it came out. I I play that album all it's like Brown. I play that
it's
album all the time.
So I love the brown on it. And even her like the sleeve of it was very nice and the photos on the inside. She did a nice job with her booklet.
The details, she went into details on it. That's something that I really care about.
Hmm.
That would make me a recurring customer too. Y'all put detail in it. Even if I'm like, ah, this album is okay. I'll look at it like, so you cared about us though. Because there's
Yeah.
certain albums that I got that because I buy stuff in the moment a lot.
Me
Like I'm
too.
like, damn, why'd I buy that album? But then I look at it, I'm like, all right, at least it came with a
Mhm.
poster and stuff that I'm never going to put up. But I have a poster of certain artists. I'm like, I'm never going to. Like I got a Mrs. Bleak poster. I'm still
It's
never going
a
up.
good
Like
thing to have though.
I bought a vinyl of his in San Diego because that's where I'm originally from, and I bought it. It was some like some dude was just selling records. I think he stole them. I know he stole them, but and I bought it, and I was like Memphis Bleak. I was like, he had vinyls. All right. I bought it because it had Dear Summer on it. It's the
Hmm.
album with Dear Summer. And I was like, all right. And it came with a poster. I don't know where the poster is. It's somewhere here, but because I took it out of the sleeve. But yeah, I got a couple. See, I was gonna just do 5 questions. I got a whole bunch because I didn't know you was a Jay-Z head. So,
Yeah.
so do you? How do you feel about buying bootlegs?
I'm torn about it. I think there are certain ones that make sense, like a Frank Ocean Blonde,
Mm,
like that's one I have on bootleg. But then there are, especially early on in my vinyl buying journey, like I think I had to learn pretty quickly, like just because they have an album, like doesn't mean that just because they have the bootleg version of the album you want doesn't mean the album that you want won't restock at some point in time. It really is like a waiting game. And so to kind of pick your battles in that way is what I chose to do. Because like for example, Big Sean. Big Sean didn't start releasing his albums on vinyl until like in the past 2, 3 years. And I saw so many finally famous bootlegs, but I said, no, I know for a fact that he's gonna drop this album on vinyl and I'm gonna be able to buy it. And then he did, because that's probably one of my, to this day, still one of my favorite projects from him. And I,
really? Finally
oh,
famous?
his rookie album was good. Like, and it reminds me of a very distinct time in my like teenage years. But top to bottom, he had hits on that for sure. Yeah,
I remember
Raheem,
that
Chris
album very
Brown,
well.
like Kanye, like he had it. He had it. Finally Famous was a very good introduction. People, and I definitely think when it comes to me and rap, I have like subsections that I like to focus on. Rookie debut albums is definitely one of them.
Hmm.
So I just think it was a really great introduction of who he like has grown to be as a rapper. But to start there and to like see his growth, it's not like, oh, he really was bad at first and now like it's been exponential. It's like, no, he started off with talent and he's been able to diversify just his style of music in so many ways. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like 2088 as well. Like that's a vinyl that I've seen plenty of bootlegs of, but I refuse to buy it because I know that one day him and Janae will sit down and say, fine, we'll put it out because that is a classic and they know that the people want it.
I don't know. I hope that one gets on vinyl. There's certain albums that like I just bought Section 80. It's a bootleg from Kendrick.
Hmm.
And I was like, how much am I willing to pay for a bootleg? It was 35. And I said, that's about the
Yeah.
price that
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay. And I was like, I gotta get it. Because that's my favorite album from Kendrick. And I was just like, I gotta get it though, because I don't think it's ever going to, I'm never going to have this opportunity where it's
Mhm.
35. Because I've seen people selling the bootleg for $90. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're tripping.
And
Oh,
that's where it gets like excessive. Like I also have the bootleg of Acid Rap by Chance, and I've seen that like literally go for over $100, and I think I
mhm.
got it for 20 when I bought it. So it's
Yeah, like,
like it really is a pick your battles and a waiting game, but also knowing that there are just going to be some unicorns that you might not be able to get your hands on.
yeah, I always tell people like just be patient, especially like the record store day releases. People are like so pressed to get it. Like I always go to record store day, but I usually get one album and then I just shop at the shop and get whatever. Cause like I wanted like Future's DS2, right? I wanted that album and I was like, do I really want to wait in this line? Nah,
Right.
it'll be pressed. Like I know eventually I'll get it. And I saw it the last time I went to the record store, to be honest. They were taxing too much.
Mm,
They were trying to charge $50 for it. I said, I can get it.
no.
I was like, I can get it probably cheaper than that. Let's not do that. But you just gotta be patient. I got Childish Gambino's, what is it, Kauai.
Mm.
I wanted that one. They ran out. The person ahead of me got it. I was so pissed. I was like, they could they were a reseller. They
Oh,
bought like they were buying stuff that they know
so
people.
many. That
They're a
sucks.
reseller. Because the dude, I will never forget this dude's face because of it. He tried to sell it to me after because he knew that's what I wanted. And I said, you trying to overcharge. You didn't even want the album. Like, nah, I'm good. And I ended
Right.
up getting that album eventually. So I was like, just be patient. But um, if you were on a desert island, this is the question I'm gonna ask everybody when I do this. What five um albums will you take with you that you own in your collection?
This is a tough question because even like I'm staring at the wall behind me and I'm like, okay, damn, this is hard. I would say I'll probably go with not in any particular order.
Oh, you ain't gotta go in no order.
Just in case. Views by Drake.
Hmm.
Um, The Emancipation of Mimi is hard. I would do Volume 2 by Jay-Z.
Hmm.
Has three. I'm like, I have like my vinyls all around me. I'm like looking to see like what else. Ooh, dang, that's three. Okay, I do Homecoming Live by Beyonce. So you get a mixture. That's four. And then this might be a hot take, but it's because I'm looking at it. Um, Sideline Story by J. Cole.
That's not no hot take for over here. That's not a hot take over here.
Yeah, that's five.
I've
That's
I've got
acceptable.
accused of being a J. Cole glazer, even though I don't think I respect his talent.
But
So
people don't with like the albums that he has at his disposal, I think someone would have expected me to say like KOD, which I do love, or even like Born Sinner behind me. But I think there was something very special about him on that first album that is just very Friday Night Lights-esque, Any Given Sunday-esque that I will always love about J. Cole.
yeah, this J. Cole Friday Night Lights is probably my favorite anything from him. Um that for I recently listened to all of his albums. That first album sounds like it's his first album. The growth that you see throughout his career, it's just crazy. I get in little debates all the time about J. Cole because I'm always defending J. Cole, even though he be saying some like stuff. Sometimes I just be like J. Cole.
So like please like be quiet a little bit. But also he in the whole him, Kendrick, Drake debate, like you can say what you want about Kendrick, you can say what you want about Drake, but if I had to, out of me, if I'm going with J. Cole all the way. He's definitely he's found his way into my top five dead or alive. And I just think no matter what stage of music he's in, it's always top tier. Like when KOD first came out, I remember how much hate it got. And I'm like, you guys are sleeping on like such a good album. It was good for me from jump. And I just went back maybe a couple months ago and like ran it through the ground again. And I'm like, this was ahead of its time. And if it got dropped right now, it was still going number one.
I
Like
think the reason why people hate that album is because it's J. Cole. If and I've said this to people, they like you just a glazer. I think if any other rapper dropped that album, people would have been like in love with it.
genius. You hear him. You already like, and even now I'm like, were y'all we weren't really even then when I loved it, I wasn't really listening to like the true value that that album holds. Like he was dropping gems from start to finish. He's one of my favorite storyteller rappers. Like he can paint a picture so clearly, and he does that all throughout KOD. It's like one of the best parts of it, I think.
Is that your favorite J. Cole album?
No,
Your
like
favorite is Silent Stories?
I think it's between Born Sinner and Sideline Stories for me.
Hmm.
Forest Hills Drive had to grow on me a lot. I actually like the live album more than I like the studio.
Hmm. That's the take. That's a hot take. That one's that's the hot take right there.
Yeah, it did take me, I think everyone loves that album, and I think rightfully so. Like I can understand why like culturally that is viewed as like one of his peaks. But I think for me being like loving Born Center as much as I did when it came out, having that mixtape connection with J. Cole to love the first album as much as I did. 2014 was way, I did not expect that from him whatsoever. I don't think. So when I heard it, I'm just like, outside of the singles, I'm like, this one's gonna take a second to grow on me. But then when I heard the live
Mm.
arrangements and his energy and the fact that he played it top to bottom in his home city, like you could just, I like heard the passion behind the lyrics and the storytelling more. So I'd run the live version into the ground.
I've
Like get off my dick live, amazing,
I've
amazing.
seen J. Cole on all of his tours, except actually KOD. I didn't see him on KOD because I started a new job
Mm,
and because my sister bought me tickets for my birthday one year. She bought
oh,
me good ass seats too. I was so and I was like, I can't because it's the first day and they're not gonna let me,
off the first day.
because it was in LA and I lived in San Diego. I was like, if I get off work at 7 or 6:30, I gotta get to LA.
Mm,
I'm not gonna make it in time. It's like I told my sister, just go. Just go.
I haven't seen him yet.
I remember so vividly when KOD came out because KOD came out on 420 and it also came out because I used to work at a college. We were on a trip. We were taking these kids. I used to work at a community college. We were taking them on a tour of Berkeley and
Mm,
Santa Cruz. So we are in Santa Cruz and I bought the album without listening to it. I just bought it because it's J. Cole. I'm like,
that's true.
I'm gonna like it without even listening to it. Just bought it. And it ended up being great to me personally. I like the album, but so I will always remember when that album came out. But I've seen J. Cole too many times to count. Like, I'm a big J. Cole fan. If he's in my city, I'm going. Like,
I haven't seen him yet, and I really need to before the fall off because like it feels like impending doom where it's like I know it's coming,
I
so I need to get
think
it
he
out
about
the
to
way.
retire.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's coming, and I'm scared. Even though him retiring as an artist, like to me, he really is like a better version of his predecessor when it comes to Jay-Z. Like being signed by him and seeing him become the music mogul that a lot of his peers like Drake thinks he is with OVO is like really cool to see him be with Dreamville and like for how he's been able to put that together. I
Hmm.
think from rapper to mogul and label head, he's done that transition the best out of like this generation, even afterward. Like Lil Yachty, that's still always a mess. Like he can't put together something solid to save his life for real.
I hate Lil Yachty. I'm not gonna.
Like
I
and Drake keeps everyone of value in the basement until he wants to bring them out. So I think J. Cole has done it the best. So even if he's not rapping, like he'll take the Jay-Z approach and really be a solid label head to the people that he has under him, but also I feel like we'll still get pieces of those feature runs and even like a surprise drop if he's feeling nice to us.
I mean, I think that's a great take to be honest, because he's the only out of all the rappers who have their own label, he's the only one that his label consistently puts out heat. Because TDE is not that's not a rapper, that's Top Dog. So like he got Jid, he got Ari,
Mhm.
he got I Like Boss, Earth
First
Gang,
thing, like
like the label is great.
and even what he's been able to put together with the collab projects, like the actual environment for creatives to be at their top selves, like you just have a bought out a whole studio and put 20 plus artists in there and be like, make good shit, and then we'll put it all on an album. Like
That's
that's that's something that in the 90s and 2000s was like a regular occurrence to have so many good minds in one place to create music. And now to see him do that, like, what was it? I think it was Revenge of the Dreamers. Is it three? That's like the black cover.
just
Well,
three.
yeah, three is fire, top to bottom.
Three,
Top.
yeah. Yeah, I bought that one. I got
Hmm.
like the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
And I bought that on accident because I thought I was getting the regular one. But the cover is like it has like it's like kind of like Midnight Marauders, I guess,
Mm.
like all the artists on there. And
Oh, yes, yes. I've seen that cover. I've seen that cover. I
yeah,
did one that just says Revenge of the Dreamers 3 on it. But I had to like that. That's good label head work. That's good artist work. Like he, even though like his relationship with Jay might not be like the clearest, like I think he soaked up that experience the best that he could
Yeah,
and really turned it over.
I guess I guess final question. What is your top five? 'Cause you said J. Cole's in your top five. So I'm curious to hear your top five now.
Okay, my top five dead or alive starts with Jay-Z. Like he's always gonna be number one. I definitely throw Biggie in there. I was definitely raised on him. I have to be careful with this now. I put Lil Wayne in there as well.
Okay.
J. Cole, that's four. My fifth position usually changes, but the one take I always stand by is that if anyone has Drake in their top five dead or alive, I kind of look at them sideways. Not because he's not a good rapper, but I would categorize Drake as more of an artist than a rapper.
Mm.
So I never include him.
So do you look at him as a pop star or you look at him as
Yeah, but like pop star in like rap form.
like
But
pop rap, I guess? I don't know.
yeah, I just think that he like Thank Me Later, like okay, we talked about debut projects. Thank Me Later was a solid start for him, and that's honestly one of my favorite Drake albums. Like Fireworks on that, top tier. Like there's a lot of songs on there, and I think they got such a bad rep because they wanted something else from him, and he was trying to fill in all these like outward obligations that weren't really true to him at the time. But through and through, he was like a rapper on that album with just really great hooks. And then I think when he decided like to take all that criticism and to make Take Care, that kind of changed the trajectory of what he wanted for himself. And I
Mm.
thought he was going to go back to rap when we got Nothing Was the Same. But then in the albums following, it kind of just showed like what he was in it for. And it wasn't to make himself a better lyricist or like storyteller. Because I think he's gotten very lazy in his storytelling in the last like 3 to 4 projects, but it
Mm.
was just about making things that sounded good, which they did. I have a lot of Drake vinyls, so like, and again, Views is one of the albums I bring on the island.
Yeah.
I think it's not like mixtape Drake. You can tell like he was writing with something to prove, and I feel like he lost that, which then takes away the art of rapping for me personally.
Mm. Yeah. See, that's how I can tell we have our age different because um to me, Drake is always it's like he has an identity crisis.
Mm,
So when Drake first was introduced to me, he sounded like Little Brother, like Fonte from Little Brother. And then when Thank Me Later came out, I was super disappointed because I thought he was going to sound like that, like a
mm,
conscious rapper. And
mm.
then his
Yeah, that's
sound has
definitely what he
changed.
gave
Yeah.
during the mixtape era. Like, I think it's called Comeback Season, that mixtape.
Hmm.
Like, oh, like that's the Drake that I wanted. You could just tell his pen was like he was really in the lab
Yeah.
writing these things and these experiences. And I mean, granted, it's not like he was still chasing a dream, and I feel like that's when they were all the most hungry. Like Good Kid, Mad City is probably one of the best debut albums ever because like they were really like writing with something to prove and just wanting to kick the foot down in an industry so dominated by a Jay-Z and peers like him. Um, which I oh brings me to my number five. My number five. Um, Controversial hot take maybe as well, but I would put Nicki at five.
Nikki.
I'm putting Nicki at five for the soul, and I will say like Queen was probably like her last like decent album, like Pink Friday 2. I'm not a fan, and everyone says that that album was pretty nice, but I would not have made that the follow-up to the most iconic, probably one of the best debut albums from a rapper, male or female,
Whoa.
ever. and
That's
Pink Friday.
that's a hot take. That's
I stand on it.
I'm
You
burning.
can't you can't tell me that Pink Friday isn't a top debut album from any rapper.
Ever?
I would put it up there. Like think about when she released, who she was releasing around at that time. Like every
I
single
I was like that was my around my senior year to like
she's
college.
rapping on that album top to bottom. And if
That
she dropped
album,
it
that
today,
album is it's a good album, but
but again,
ever?
but no debut album. Like it
Yeah,
put it
I
on.
know. Debut ever?
Yes, I'm standing on
There's
it.
like some
I'm
like
not a barb. I'm not a barb, but I'm standing on it.
there's like some heavy hitters there's like Illmatic, there's like Reasonable Doubt.
Okay, yes.
There's yeah, there's a lot of heavy hitters. I think it's a classic album, but debut ever?
I would put it, but when you put it at the state of rap at the time, again, her being a female rapper,
Oh,
it
okay.
was
I know.
unlike any of her female predecessors before. And again, it's a debut rap album that she out rapped every single male on that track list. And then the history, when you
I,
go into numbers behind it, I think it's well due. And has she been able to top it, in my personal opinion? No.
I don't think can either though.
And
If
that's when her pen was pristine.
but she can't top that album. I'm looking at the track list. She has like five songs that are like top 10, like they're charting. Your Love, Right Through Me, Moment for Life, Super Bass. Those
And
are
those
like,
aren't even the best songs on the album, though.
but
You got
those
Roman's
songs are those
Revenge.
songs are huge though.
You got
Like
Roman's Revenge. You got Blazing. You got like songs where like her pen, like she's rapping, Dear Old Nikki, like Save Me. She is, and it's not just rap songs. Yes, she was able, and I think she was really successful at this, which is why we see a Megan Lotto being able to have the pop streak of success that they have because it starts with this album. Yes, she has the pop hits, but she was rapping, and then rapping on R&B style beats. Like it
I
was top
think
dog.
I think the album's impact, you can make a case. I would say as far as the quality, I wouldn't put it in that category with some of the like top albums, but the impact, because that album, every woman MC, whether they want to admit it or not, they are it's out it's for like certain like a Rhapsody or somebody. They are following Nicki Minaj's blueprint. Like
Mhm.
Lotto, that is Nicki Minaj's blueprint from top down. Like even the record that she did that sampled Mariah Carey, that
Mhm.
is a Nicki Minaj formula, like top down. The
Top to bottom.
influence is definitely there.
Like Megan on her like the soundtrack streak that she went on and
Yeah.
just able being even having the opportunity to do the more pop records or have like the international crossover like that doesn't come without that album. And it maybe I'll give it. Maybe it is a stretch when you like look at all of time, right? And you bring in the reason about the outs, you bring in the Illmatics because I do think that that level of rapping in itself is like Hall of Fame level.
Yeah.
Like you can't not create it. And I think as you go through the generations, if you were to take Nicki's generation and down and you just did debuts, like you can't tell me it's not.
It's a great debut. It's just
It
hard to pit it against some of the
I
big.
think that also comes with the fact that she's a woman too. So like
Yeah.
the but it's and I say this I again, I hope when this airs like I'm not a barb, I swear, they're crazy. But she's that album was so good. And I with naming Biggie as one of my top five as well. Like I really did grow up on like East Coast rap, obviously Jay-Z being one of my favorites. So like my mom was a big Lil Kim, Foxy, and I definitely can see even their influence on Nicki, but she still made it so much her own and then just like flew.
She took their influence, and I would say Lil Wayne's influence as well, and like made like a super like
Mhm.
when Nicki Minaj was on top of the game. Even though I have a lot of issues with some of the stuff that she be tweeting. And
No,
I have
absolutely.
an issue
Like
with the person, not the music. I think more so than anything. Nobody can deny the impact that she can literally tour off of that album if she really wanted to,
forever,
forever.
forever.
Like, because I wasn't a fan of the newest album, but she can tour off of the old hits. She has enough. She can tour off her mixtape, to be honest. But
She could like beat me up, Scotty. Like going through that whole, I'm like, dang, like she really was like, and again, that's just when the pen was the most respected thing. Now it's the beat or the aesthetic of the video or even the artist that's presenting you the music. And it's like, no, can we just get back to the pen? Victoria Monet, her pen is immaculate.
but if your
Mariah, her pen is immaculate. Like,
if your
come
pen game is good, eventually you gonna shine. I always think that eventually you will shine. I think that people are so used to instant success, and I mean, everybody wants it. Shit,
on.
like I want it, but I grind to like I will grind whatever. If it takes me 10 years to get where I need to get at, that's fine. But if your pen game is good, you're gonna eventually get there. Like Victoria Monet took her forever to take off, but she got there
Yeah.
because her pen is elite, her talent is elite. Like,
She was even like I've been on her for a very long time. Like I've seen her open up for Fifth Harmony. I was listening to her in like her first mixtapes. I think it's like Ready Part One and Part Two. Like she, and then knowing she wrote for Ariana this whole time, I love seeing where she's at. Just even musically, you can see the growth of her pen, but you know it's still her pen.
yeah,
And that's just so like the R&B girls aren't writing their music nowadays. Like even Kehlani, like I always appreciated Kehlani's artistry because she was like, nah, like if I'm not writing it, I'm not singing it. If
which
it's not, if these aren't the producers that I know and like that I trust their musicality, we can hold off on working for them for now because I need to be in a room with people I trust to be able to create the best music.
which
And so
says a lot about people's talent, and I respect I respect that. I respect though both sides of it. I respect the like Beyonce who has the best writers and the best producers, but I also respect people who are doing it themselves. Like
yeah, I will
this
say with Beyonce too, it's I know like the one of the biggest critiques about her right now is that she has like such a big writing camp and a lot of people at her disposal. Yeah. But I'll say with her, she did the time writing the music. Like
Mhm.
all throughout the beginning of her career with Destiny's Child and those first couple albums. And so it's one thing I talk with my friends about all the time, like to really say that you have a hand in every single part of your music or like just you're creative and you know what exactly it takes to execute it. And the goal and the dream is always at some point to be able to hand it off and just focus on the one thing that you can do best to bring it to life. And for her, it's singing.
For
So
yeah,
her pen was special too.
I will always respect Beyonce because well, honestly, seeing her live made me respect her way more. And this is when I saw her. Cause I saw her twice. I saw her like on the Renaissance, and I saw her. This was a while ago on the Run
Mm,
with my sister. We went that seeing that I was like, oh, she's different.
she's the
Cause
truth.
like the way that she was performing, the transitions to like everything. As somebody who wants to get to that point where, cause my goal is to produce. I want to be on that side.
Hmm.
The ultimate goal is like I want to have a show talking about vinyl, but like somebody else is like the fucking host and doing
Hmm.
everything, and I'm like behind the scenes. To see how she did everything, how that was the whole thing, I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like we got
And
like
everything
two,
she
2 hours.
combats to do it. Like seeing, I don't know if you saw the Renaissance movie, but there's a part in it where she's like, I need a bigger lens to encapsulate the vision. And her tech guy's looking at her like they don't make lenses that big. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. And she goes, well, I just Googled it and they do. And he's like, oh, well, I guess we can. Like Beyonce hired you and you aren't doing your due diligence about bringing her creative to life. Like she has to literally force your hand to do these things. And to have, again, a hand in every single part, to learn how to design sets and to go through 200 versions and to sing and change choreographers and dancers and have your daughter up on stage and just be the boss of a whole tour like that on top of the rollouts. And
It was
we didn't even
crazy.
know she was filming a movie. So you're filming a movie and she's such a boss, like such a
Yeah, that
boss.
was that the tour. I was like, this is like 3 hours long. Like I was like, damn, I'm tired. I went to work that day too. So that was a real got off at like 6. Well, we get off at 6, but we don't get off at 6. So I got off at like 6:15, got home, took a shower real quick,
Mhm.
went to the show. I was like, this is crazy though. I've
And tell
never sat in I never sat in like it never took me so long to get out of a stadium though than Beyonce.
oh yeah, because everyone came through, and the way that because I also saw her on Renaissance, and that was my second time seeing her. But the first time I ever saw her was I was in the third grade, so it had been that long since I
Oh
had seen her.
damn.
I saw her when my mom took me to see her when she was just dropped Crazy in Love, and she was on like a group tour with Missy Elliott, Alicia Keys, herself, and a couple others. And so then seeing her in Renaissance and her starting it with Dangerously in Love and just seeing how the show like builds and
Mhm.
climax throughout the whole project. I'm just like, wow. And she does it so like flawlessly, like in her sleep.
Yeah, it was that. Whew. That show, I was like, damn. And going to a concert after that, it was hard. I ain't go. It was so hard going after because I was
Yes.
like, y'all not doing this. Like,
No,
y'all
they're
not doing
not.
this. Like,
I went to my sister got us Nicki tickets for my birthday. So seeing Nicki, that was the first concert I went to after seeing Beyonce. And I was like, this is cute. And like, yeah, you have the hits, you have some of the new album I don't like, but like this is cute. But after seeing Beyonce, like y'all aren't doing enough. Like I just saw Meg at like a pop-up show last week. And I'm like, okay, this you could tell now that some of the girlies are putting in more effort because they do realize what it takes to put on a show, rap or not.
yeah,
So,
I feel like the women. I feel they do way more than the men.
mhm,
Um, so I feel like that sucks. I mean, we know why. Like, I mean, you're a woman. Obviously, you know why.
mhm,
But I feel like I would rather spend money to go see somebody who's going to put on the show. The older I'm getting, the more I'm like, I'm not going to see like the newest little rapper because I
mhm,
know they're not going to do a show. But
right.
I'll go see Meg The Stallion. I'll go see Victoria Monet because I know what we gonna get. We're gonna get a show. When I saw Victoria Monet, she was dancing, she was doing all that stuff. She was a show. Because I don't want to. I can play the vinyl if I just want to hear you sing. Like I want a show. Like
And
I'm gonna
that
pay for some good seats. Like
the art of performing, which again Beyonce does so well, but that really is even now like a hidden talent. Like because Victoria, for her, I always say Victoria also she reminds me, I know she gets Beyonce comparisons as well, but she really reminds me of Janet. Like you could tell she went to the
mm,
school of Janet, like her and Tiana Taylor. And so to be able to perform at such a high level and still like vocally perform as well is such a lost art, and not a lot of men or women could do that at the level that requires to put on a good show. Like Normani too, like she's such a performer.
mm.
um
I want to see how she is live. I
oh,
haven't I haven't been to like the last concert I went to. Well, actually, it wasn't that long ago. This dude, his name is Jalen Gondo. He's a singer. That man's voice was voicing that day. He was the problem that I had though. I don't know if I should say this. There's too many white people. There's way too many white people. I'm
but
in
those are the people that buy tickets.
the
So
pit.
I think
Yeah.
it, especially for a lot of black artists, like especially in the rap community, like you go to the festivals and it's just a bunch of white people, and it like and it's they need to find a way to be able to close the gap with like actual black people coming up to their shows, whether it's like actually performing in venues that these people can also afford to go to. Like it's not that hard to like put a stop on your tour that you know that the right people are going to show up and not just people who know you off of TikTok and then the rest of your concert is silent because they don't actually
Yeah,
know.
that's the thing. Um, some of these artists, well, some I just honestly don't think they're ready. I think they're getting pushed out and they're not ready. Like people know them from TikTok. If your song is big because of TikTok and they only know that song, you shouldn't be doing like certain.
Yeah, there's no such thing as artist development anymore. And I think
Oh,
what we once knew as artist development, because like you talked about of that instant gratification, especially with music, like artists, because of the label, because the fans aren't really able to develop or take their time to get to the best form of a project because it's about can you drop in Q1 when there's no one else dropping? Like, can you make this award
hmm.
show line and all these things that do compromise the art a lot.
That's why I like when artists like take your time with your project. I personally, I'm gonna go see you if I rock with you, even
But
if I
that's
don't like your last album.
too
I'm gonna go.
long. Like Normani, she took a little too long. Like,
Yeah, she took
even though
way.
the project was good, the project was good. Top to like I've always loved Normani. Dopamine was amazing. It was once I got it, I'm like, okay, like I get it, but I wish it didn't take that long. Or even the break between Control and SOS. Like
See, I needed that though. That's the thing with people complain about SZA. I'm like, I just saw SZA perform. She was doing every goddamn festival. Like, I was like, she need that break. I feel like they need to stop announcing stuff like, oh, album's gonna come out, and
yeah,
it doesn't
like
come
man, what's that? Punch. I be wanting to get into it with him because who's telling the truth? Is it your fault the album's not coming or is it hers? Like the fact that she really scrapped that deluxe and said, yeah, like Solana or whatever the next album's supposed to be,
Oh,
it's
that
in,
it leaked.
in the garbage.
It leaked. That's why though, because I heard a few of the songs. It leaked.
That's not
That's
right.
why I
But
think
when
she
she said that,
scrapped
I
it.
was like, man, why you gotta do that? Just put it out. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
trying
seen
to listen
this.
to
She's been
music.
touring. That's why, like, certain art. The thing is, though, I don't know what's going on in the music industry, but something's clearly going on with everybody is on tour right now.
Oh
And
yeah. I think it's just a sign of the times though. Like also, like touring is really the only way as an artist that you're going
make
to
money.
accumulate as much money as we think they're making from their music. And
Hmm.
then because of streaming, because of social media, people aren't discovering and signing talent like they used to. Everyone wants to be an independent artist or own parts of their music and publishing that labels used to be raking in, and now you're cutting deals. Like that obviously affects them internally. But I think as it more expensive as we feel it is to survive on our middle class just in our lives, I'm sure that inflation is hitting them at the top dollar. And now they're like, damn, I have all these people on my payroll, all this. I need to go on
Yep.
tour. I need to drop some music. I need to make some money.
I know they getting hit because I work in education and I make enough. Honestly, like I work at the district I work in, they got money. So that's how I can make more than I if I was somewhere else. But even for me, I'm like, if I get sick, it's rough.
Hmm.
Like, so I know artists who don't have a steady like income, that's gotta be stressful.
Hmm.
So that's why I try to buy from the artist if I can.
Right.
'Cause I'm like, okay, at least I know you're gonna get something
Mhm.
from this. Especially if it's like an independent artist. I'm like, all right, I'll pay more
Right.
just so I know you're going to get it. I'm gonna buy your merch. Like I got like merch from artists and I'm like, I'm never wearing this. Like,
I need them to have like a bigger volume of stuff though. 'Cause I think that's the one thing that gets me about independent artists, like a Tinashe. When she drops songs for you, that's one vinyl that I'm like searching for to this day, but there's only a certain amount that I'll pay for it.
mm,
And because that top to bottom to me, no skips. That was her first project as like a fully independent artist, and it was a classic. Like Snow Allegra, Those Feelings Again. I still haven't been able to get my hands on that vinyl.
I got I got it.
It's
Listen,
so bad.
shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Autumn. I gotta give you a shout out, Autumn, because you keep texting me. I was getting my hair cut. She was all
I think
like,
I remember the day it dropped, and I think I found out hours too late. When I went, it was gone. I'm like, I can't. Like Alina Baraz, like her first couple projects, I'm like, I would love these, but every time you restock them, I think I miss them. I
I've
can't.
never seen her stuff anywhere.
I need more. Like you guys have bigger fan bases than you think. Like let's just make this a pre-order link.
Yeah,
Galley, gather it up and then sell. Don't just have a set amount of copies and then I can't get my hands on anything.
that's how it was with Doechii. Doechii's album sold out super fast. And then like they restocked. I was like, all right, let me just pre-order this.
Oh, you literally have to go like this, like Brent. I remember I used to go on eBay because I used to be one of my dream ones to have, and they'd be selling it for $500. I think I had to wait like 2 years for him to restock that.
500 is crazy.
Like Drake. I Drake makes me mad because he needs to redrop Nothing Was the Same, but he won't.
He
That
won't.
runs for at least $500 to $1,000 resale
That
right now.
album, how many years has that album been out? Has a 10-year anniversary of the album passed? Let me look. Because if
Yeah,
it did, then he's not dropping it.
it's so sad.
Oh, the 10-year already passed. He's not dropping that.
Like,
He's not dropping it.
that's the one I want so bad.
That's my favorite Drake album.
Yes. But it's the fact that I would have named that in the island, but I don't have it on vinyl. So I would be
Yeah. Whew. That question, I ain't gonna lie. I know that question is a hard question for people. That's why I put it there.
yeah.
I'm only trying to interview people who I know one talk about music and care about music, but I also know have a collection.
Hmm.
You got like 30 albums. I'm like, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be easier for you. You got 30 albums, but
No, because I'm looking around and I'm like, I didn't even say Whitney, and I got like Whitney literally staring at me. And I love her
hmm.
dad.
How did I? All right, last question, because I need to eat dinner.
Oh,
But
no, sorry.
no, you good. You good. How do you decide what goes on your vinyl wall?
That's a great question. It depends. Like this is kind of like my best of. Like these are just some
Mm.
of my favorite albums ever. Um, Sometimes I do it by color. So I'll like get all my blue albums or all my white albums, and then I'll like color coordinate the walls. And that's been kind of fun. So yeah, it goes from mixture of like color coordinated to best of.
Mm. Yeah. I'm doing women in R&B. I tried to do colors. It's not for me. Takes way too long
It
because
does. You gotta look.
I get like this red is a little bit too dark and
Hmm.
and
And
I'm
then
like,
you can make like a gradient. I've done gradients too. Like
yeah,
you don't have
and
all the same.
can't do it. Won't be me. For people who do it, much respect to y'all because I can't do it. My patience too, I'm just like I got like OCD. So like even every few weeks I have to reorganize all my vinyls. It's the problem I'm working on. But
That
so when
too.
I have it in by color and if I can tell one of the colors is a little bit darker, it will bother me. Like I would just stare at the wall. Like
No,
right now
yeah.
I have like I want to move a couple of my albums because I have Victoria Monet next to an Ari Lennox, but the Ari Lennox is white and the Victoria Monet is like the brown, black, whatever. And it's bothering me because I'm like, this should look different.
So
But
you've seen the vinyl wall setup videos on my page. I literally do that in real time. Like I'll set up like a grid that I think looks well and I'll finish and I'll be like, oh that no, and I'll start all over and then
yeah,
put it
I
all
can't do
over.
it. I had to tell people like, yo, how do y'all do this? Like, I can't decide. It takes me too long. I write down the albums. Like, I'm like, all right, these are the albums. Let's make a decision. Just write it down. And that's how I make my decision. Like for the albums I got up right now, I wrote them on a paper, like they're going up. Like
Okay.
it's easier just to pull them out and not have to think about it. But the way that I have it organized is definitely gonna get switched. I'm probably gonna switch it tomorrow because I'm off. So, but All right. Do you have like you want to give your information where people can find you, all that type of stuff?
Yeah. So I'm Denise. I'm usually speaking my piece. I have my own talk show where I talk to professional athletes and also cover everything from life lessons, 20 somethings, everything in between. You can find me on TikTok at It's D Michelle, so ITSDMICHELLE, and Speak Your Piece on YouTube.
Yeah. All right. Thank y'all. And I'll catch y'all next week. We're out. Bruce.